Hey there, welcome to Module 11. In this course, we will cover predictive engagement. In this module, we will the Live Now view and take a look at the different reports. We will also go through segments and outcomes and take a look at the global settings. If you are keeping track, this module will cover the predictive engagement section. Let's get started. Genesys Predictive Engagement is a cloud-based, AI-powered customer engagement solution that analyzes visitors' behaviors on websites, predicts the outcomes visitors are trying to achieve, and personalizes engagements to help visitors achieve those outcomes. Too often visitors abandon carts, customers remain frustrated on websites, or prospects leave websites without finding what they need. These scenarios lead to missed leads, lost revenue, and increased calls to the contact center. Through its use of artificial intelligence, journey analytics, and computer learning, Genesys Predictive Engagement allows you to engage with the right visitors at the right time, whether they be high-value customers or prospects. The Live Now view shows who is active on your website. The last active reflects the visitor's status on your website. Green means the visitor is active. Yellow means the visitor has been inactive for 4 to 5 seconds. For past interactions, the date the interaction occurred appears. To see the details about a visitor, click the visitor's name. To see the web page that the visitor is on currently, click the link under Browsing. To see only visitors who belong to specific segments, in the Choose Segments list, select the segment. You can search for visitors by their name, browsing website, or location. Live Now displays the most recent information of all the sessions listed on the page. To view the newer web sessions, click Refresh. Let's move on and take a look at segments. Learn how to identify or segment visitors based on their shared characteristics. Later, you can design action maps to engage specific segments of visitors, and then filter by segments to evaluate how well you are engaging them. Let's get started by creating a segment. From Predictive Engagement, click Segments, then click Get Started. In Name, give a descriptive name. Optionally, under Description, put a description of the segment. Under Visitor Attributes, enter attributes that identify visitors based on characteristics such as location, browser, or device type. Under Visitor Journey, enter attributes that identify visitors based on their shared behaviors. For example, completing a form or going to a specific web page. Under Segment Display Color, choose the background color to use when displaying the segment name. For example, in Live Now and the Action Map report. Session segments display to agents by default. Agents can see when Genesys Predictive Engagement matches visitors to a segment. However, not all segments are relevant to all agents. Segments that don't display to agents appear in Live Now and reports. The segments can also trigger action maps. These segments remain in a customer's record. Segments are active by default. When a segment is active, it is ready to match visitors on your website. To deactivate a segment temporarily from matching, slide the toggle to No. To remove a segment permanently, delete it. Once we have created our segment, let's create an outcome. To allow Genesys Predictive Engagement to predict visitor behavior, define your business goals as outcomes. You must specify at least one condition. To create an outcome after you reach the outcome limit, delete an existing outcome. Let's create our first outcome. Under Predictive Engagement, click Outcomes, then click Get Started. Under Name, enter a descriptive name of the outcome. Under Description, enter a description of the outcome. Outcomes are active by default. When an outcome is active, it is ready to use on your website. To deactivate an outcome temporarily, slide the toggle to No. To remove an outcome permanently, delete it instead. First events are attributes that identify visitors based on shared behaviors. For example, completing a form or going to a specific web page. When you create an outcome, you can attach a perceived value to quantify the benefit of the specified outcome. Under Visitor Attributes, set attributes that identify visitors based on characteristics such as location, browser, or device type. Click Save or Save and Close. Now that we have created our outcome, let's move on to action maps. An action map represents the steps that Genesys Predictive Engagement takes to achieve a particular business result. Some action maps use web actions. Web actions engage with a visitor directly. For example, you can create an action map that presents a web chat to visitors who go to a particular page for your current promotional campaign. The chat might ask the visitor whether they want to speak directly with someone in sales, who could then help them complete their purchase. Some action maps, such as architect flows, use actions that react to visitor behavior, but do not interact with a visitor directly. Under Action Map Name, name your action map. Use the toggle to make your action map active or inactive. Select which action to use when the action map triggers: web messaging, web chat, content offer, or advanced orchestration flow. Click Next. Customize the message and time range you want this message to be displayed. Specify the segment triggers the action map. Select the outcome you just created. To minimize an outcome, such as preventing a call to support, use only the Set Likelihood to Achieve Outcome slider. To maximize an outcome, such as making a sale, use both sliders. Set Likelihood to Achieve Outcome means that the likelihood of the visitor achieving the outcome is greater than or equal to the percentage that you set. You can also configure the action map to trigger based on a change in a visitor's behavior that affects the probability of the visitor achieving the outcome. Detect change in behavior means that the new likelihood of the visitor achieving the outcome is less than or equal to the percentage that you set. Specify the web pages where you do or don't want the action map to trigger. To only present chat offers when agents are available to receive them, select a schedule group. To ignore the global frequency cap settings and always offer web engagements that this action map qualifies, override the frequency cap for this action map. Action maps tie the segments and outcome together, allowing you to set triggers and probabilities, and when a chat should be offered to an agent. Next up, we will be taking a look at the action library. Define the content and design of your content offer, as described in the tables that follow. After you create and publish a content offer, configure an action map to use it. Under Predictive Engagement, click Action Library. Then, click Create Content Offer. Under Name and Description, specify a descriptive and meaningful name and description. For example, Spring Break Getaway Offer 2019. In the Content options, select the layout you would like to use. Choose between image only, text only, right text, left text, bottom text, or top text. Also, if a layout includes an image, you can either upload the image to Genesys Predictive Engagement or point to its URL. The heading and subheading text are the prominent and secondary text for the offer. The body should include the description of the offer. In the button, write a short string to display inside the Call to Action button. Type the destination URL of the page to display when a visitor clicks the Call to Action button. The open link in field indicates how to open the destination URL, either in the current window or in a new tab or window. In the Style options, type indicates where the content offer appears on a web page and whether the visitor can interact with other web page elements while the content offer is on screen. Within this section, you can set the content offer's background color. Within this section, you can set style options for the heading, subheading, body, and Call to Action button. Next, set the Call to Action button color. Position sets the on-screen positioning of the content. Padding sets the padding around the content offer, either in pixels or as a percentage. Let's take a look at the global settings next. Web tracking defines how you track the paths your customers take through your website. Click on Global Settings within the Predictive Engagement section. In the Tracking Settings tab, specify the allowed domains. This list of allowed domains should match the list of allowed domains for the widget. Specify any excluded IP addresses. You can designate IP addresses for which you don't want Genesys Predictive Engagement to generate web events. Specify the short ID length. Genesys Predictive Engagement assigns each visit a unique number based on a lengthy, automatically generated ID. Specify any URL query parameters for Genesys Predictive Engagement to ignore. URL query parameters appear near the end of URL. They can lead to overly specific tracking data. They also have the potential to expose personally identifiable information, which violates GDPR. Indicate whether Genesys Predictive Engagement should keep URL fragments. While URL fragments can identify specific web pages, they also have the potential to expose personally identifiable information, which violates GDPR. They can also result in an excess amount of tracking data. Specify any site search settings. Since Genesys Predictive Engagement tracks URL changes, the information about each visitor's specific searches can appear as part of the customer journey data. Save your changes. Customers who want to use web chat must deploy the Predictive Engagement Tracking snippet. This snippet deploys predictive engagement tracking on your website and also allows you to use the web chat feature. click the tracking snippet in Global Settings. Snippet recommendations are to use the website snippet if you have traditional pages on your website. If you are not sure or you have a mixture of traditional and SPA pages, then use the SPA snippet. SPA is short for single-page applications, which load dynamic content on demand without requiring a hard reload of the HTML page. The snippet will need placed in the header before the closing tag. In the Action Settings tab is where you will set the frequency capping. All settings are applied for the visitor's current session. In Web Chat, configure whether to stop offering web chats to a visitor during the same session and under certain conditions. Don't offer another web chat after a conversation with an agent indicates whether to stop offering web chats to a visitor after the visitor chats with an agent. Don't offer another web chat after a rejection indicates whether to stop offering web chats to a visitor after the visitor rejects a web chat. Apply a minimum wait time before offering next web chat is a period of time, in hour and minute format, to stop offering web chats to a visitor. A session can last for hours, but if it times out after 20 minutes of an activity, this setting is inapplicable. The maximum number of hours that you can specify is 23, and the maximum number of minutes is 59. In Content Offer, configure whether to stop presenting content offers to a visitor during the same session and under certain conditions. Don't present another content offer after an acceptance indicates whether to stop presenting content offers to a visitor after the visitor accepts a content offer. Don't present another content offer after a rejection indicates whether to stop presenting content offers to a visitor after the visitor rejects a content offer. Apply a minimum wait time before presenting next content offer is a period of time, in hours and minutes format, to stop presenting content offers to a visitor. A session can last for hours, but if it times out after 20 minutes of an activity, this setting is inapplicable. The maximum number of hours that you can specify is 23, and the maximum number of minutes is 59. In Messaging, configure whether to stop presenting web messaging offers to a visitor during the same session and under certain conditions. Don't present another web messaging offer after a conversation with an agent indicates whether to stop offering web messaging to a visitor after the visitor chats with an agent. Don't present another web messaging offer after a rejection indicates whether to stop offering web messaging to the visitor after a visitor rejects a web messaging offer. Apply a minimum wait time before presenting next web messaging offer is a period of time, in hours and minutes format, to stop offering web messaging to a visitor. A session can last for hours, but if it times out after 20 minutes of an activity, this setting is inapplicable. The maximum number of hours that you can specify is 23, and the maximum number of minutes is 59. As you configure and deploy predictive engagement throughout your org, you will begin to better understand and adjust these settings to meet the needs of your business. Up next, the Visitor Activity Report. The Visitor Activity Report shows the number of visitors on your website during a given time period. It allows you to track usage trends and to see the number of visitors at specific times. You can filter results by segments and outcomes. Select the date range for the report. Specify whether you want to see hourly or daily results. You can filter by segments, outcomes, and session parameters. You can also export to CSV. To learn how visitors interacted with a specific action map and whether the outcome of the action map was achieved, go to the Action Map report and select the action map you want to see the report for. Select the date range for the report. Specify whether you want to see hourly or daily results. This view allows you to see different counts of web actions, so the business can make informed decisions on how their site should flow to better engage their customers. To recap, this module reviewed how to start tracking visitors on your website with Genesys Predictive Engagement. We also reviewed the tools for identifying and organizing types of visitors and their trackable behaviors. We learned about the types of actions available in Genesys Predictive Engagement. We also learned how to create action maps that use actions to engage visitors and further your business goals. We reviewed visitor tracking information and visitor activity and action map performance reports. We added predictive engagement customer journey columns and filters to existing Genesys Cloud performance views. Thank you for completing Module 11. In Module 12, we will discuss workforce management. See you there.